Hello, this is Rohini again, and today I have just dropped my daughter off to university. It's quite a big milestone, and I guess it hasn't really sunk in yet that she is now officially basically a university student, and that she's not going to be here with us until she comes home on holiday. Nevertheless, I've had a day that I've missed in between, but today I'm back with the seventh of my 7Cs, and today's C is about conflict resolution. It's also about dealing with confrontation and criticism. And within that, you can wrap in things like, how to deal with failure, rejection, and setbacks. So here's the thing, that however comfortable we are with our own story, however confident we feel, there are going to be times when someone is not going to agree with us, or someone is going to be maybe a bit harsh or critical, or someone is going to turn us down. That is the way it is in life, so there's no getting away from the fact that however amazing we think we are, or however amazing we really are, that there will be times when there will be conflict. So how does one deal with that? And I know that it is not something most people look forward to. I mean, who would, look forward to actually getting into an argument with someone, or, having to deal with somebody else's views that conflict with ours? It's not something we aim to be achieving. However, when you have that situation, how you deal with it really makes a difference in how you are perceived and what kind of progress you make in life. And this is particularly true in relationships. It's also true in a work situation. So here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we actually go into a potentially sort of difficult situation where we anticipate that there's going to be conflict. So it could be that you're going into a meeting with a very controversial proposal, and you have a sense that it's not going to go down particularly well. So how do you deal with that? Do you go in, already with the facts, and do you then get defensive? Or do you sort of slow yourself down, say your piece, allow people a chance to actually absorb your message, and then give them a chance to have their say, whether they agree with you or not. And then based on that, you then decide on what your next action is going to be, or what you're going to say. So here are some simple things that actually can avoid a conflict becoming worse, where something escalates into a much bigger thing than it originally was. One is to just go into a situation knowing that different people are going to have different opinions, that your opinion is just one opinion of many, that it doesn't mean that they're going to agree with you. Secondly, is to accept that if someone doesn't agree with you, that doesn't mean necessarily that they personally think you're not good enough, or that you're not worthy of your idea being sort of taken forward. So don't take it personally, because it could just be the idea. The third is that actually by allowing other people a chance to really absorb whatever it is you've said, and giving them a chance to say their piece, you just never know. They may say things that actually make you reflect and think about your idea or your proposal in a more open way. Because in my experience, some of my greatest learning has come from my harshest critics. Now, when somebody criticizes you or kind of rejects your idea, that's never a comfortable feeling. And I think, however resilient you are, it's very unlikely that you're going to enjoy it. But when you've actually given it some time, and you've sort of caused a little bit of separation between you and that person and the idea, you may find that there is some merit in the things they've said, which if you take on board, you can actually make your idea even better, or you can actually address some of the concerns that people may have. So the best way I find is actually to allow yourself 10 seconds. If somebody says something that is really hurtful, or, really, really kind of makes you feel not appreciated, then what I would say is just breathe for 10 seconds before you respond. Because in those 10 seconds, you have allowed that separation to occur, and you've given yourself a little bit of time to decide how you are going to respond to that stimulus that is not a pleasant one. When it comes to confrontation, I've spoken to people who kind of assume that any difficult conversation is actually going to be a confrontation. I don't really see why that should be. I think if you go into a situation where you're going to discuss something that may be a little bit tricky, just view it as a conversation. Some conversations are easy, some conversations are less difficult, less easy, and a bit more difficult, but they don't have to turn into confrontations. They're not an occasion to find a winner. It's an occasion to have a connection and a dialogue and a sharing of ideas and opinions, and actually then maybe arriving at something, or perhaps, agreeing to disagree, or perhaps agreeing to reconvene when you can really think a bit more about what's been discussed. And the final piece I want to talk about is when you have setbacks, when you have rejection and failure. There's one thing that really stuck with me and has been sort of a guiding light for me is that the universe is your friend. Now, what you may call the universe, some people may call God, or, the divine power, or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It's something that's much bigger than us. And this thing that is much bigger than us is our friend. And that in any situation, if we really want something, we have asked for something, it has 3 responses for us. One is yes, the second is not yet, and the third is something better waits for you. So here's the thing, in any given situation, whether it's a friendly conversation, it's a meeting at work, or it's a confrontation with a client who's become very unhappy, you name it. There are any number of situations. It could also be in a personal relationship. If we go in thinking whatever's going to happen, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm not going to let it make me feel like this is all about me, because rarely are things all about us. Everyone's got their own personal issues, they've got their own agenda, and they've got their own problems. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's a really big topic. How to develop emotional and mental resilience in the face of conflict, criticism, and confrontation is something that we have to work on every single day. But if I want to leave you with maybe 2 or 3 things to do differently, one is go into a situation, however uncomfortable, being really clear about what it is you want to talk about, and also maybe have a clear idea of what it is you want to achieve. Secondly, go into it believing it's going to be a conversation, a 2-way conversation, not just you doing all the talking and then expecting them to just, say yes, because that may happen sometimes, but very often it doesn't. So make it a 2-way conversation and allow the other person also to have a say on what they think and feel. And whatever they say and think and feel, just give yourself 10 seconds before you respond. Whether it's a good thing they've said or a not so good, just slow everything down, because when you slow everything down, your responses become that much more sort of measured. That you have time to think about how you are going to respond in that any given situation, and actually you may just find you make better choices and you don't end up saying something that you then later on regret. So that's what I want to leave you with. Failure, setback, rejection, these are all opportunities for us to learn. These are all opportunities for us to really connect with people who are different to us, who may have a different view. And that actually in the process of allowing someone else to have the chance to really speak their mind and say their piece and to acknowledge them even without necessarily agreeing with them, you know, we may be helping them to come to our way of thinking. It can be very powerful. So with that, I'm going to leave you. So I've now covered all 7 C's. And if you want to go back and sort of revisit some of these, you know, my timeline has got all the videos. Please do. I appreciate that some of them are a little bit more long-winded than others. But, you know, I want to make it something that you can relate to into your daily life. So as from next week, because I'm going to have a break over the weekend, I'm going to come back with a fresh theme, and hopefully you're going to join me again. Meanwhile, it's Friday, and I want to wish you all a really, really lovely weekend. And whatever you do, just remember you are unique and you're amazing. And with that, I'm going to love you and leave you. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for watching.